Tax day. 3 silver crescents. Now, farmer.
I have nothing. The harvest failed again. The fields are dead.
Behind him, 2 small girls pressed into the shadows, their eyes wide and unblinking.
You have until I finish writing the seizure order. Produce the coin or I take the cottage.
Please, there must be something else. I am a widower with 2 children. This cottage is all they have.
The Empire does not make exceptions. You had the entire season.
Inside his tunic, the worn silver medallion felt like a stone against his heart. 3 silver crescents. Arrears. Seizure authorized.
It's all I have left of Ilara. But if I don't, they'll lose the roof over their heads and everything she tried to give them.
His daughters would be put out onto the road. He'd seen what happened to families without a home. The larder was empty. The coin jar held only dust. There was nothing left to give.
Then I start the seizure. The Empire will have its due, one way or another.
She lifted the quill, the nib hovering over the parchment that would tear this family's life apart. Jeffrey's hand closed around the medallion. With a shudder, he pulled it over his head.
This was my wife's. The only thing of hers I kept. Take it, please.
A piece of old jewelry? It won't cover even the penalties.
She took it, meaning to toss it aside, but the lamplight caught the worn crest.
Wait, where did you get this? Who was she?
A refugee I found on the road 10 years ago. She never said much about her past.
Drazka's eyes narrowed, the imperious mask cracking for the first time.
Her name. Did she ever tell you what this crest means?
Ilara. She never said. It was the only thing she owned when I found her.
Drazka turned the medallion over in her palm, searching for a clasp that might open it.
I found her on the high road, soaked and starving. She never spoke of before.
You married a woman you knew nothing about?
She was kind. She made this cottage feel like a home. That was enough.
On the wall, a rough charcoal sketch showed a dark-haired woman with a soft smile.
The children. They're hers, aren't they?
They're all I have left. A fever took her 3 years ago. She died holding that medallion.
The medallion seemed to burn in Drazka's grip. When she spoke again, her voice was thinner. Her thumbnail found a tiny catch. The medallion split open, like a locket, revealing a hidden miniature portrait inside.
This face. I know this face. But she was...
The crest marked a bloodline Drazka believed lost forever, extinguished in the fires of war.
You have 2 daughters. Where are they? I need to see them, now.
They're in the back. Lyra, Mira, come here, girls.
2 small shapes detached from the shadows, clutching each other's hands as they shuffled into the lamplight.
Step into the light. Let me see you clearly.
The lamplight caught the faint olive undertone of their skin, the slight point of their ears, a heritage hidden from the world, but undeniable now.
All this time, right under the Empire's nose, and I never knew.
The tax collector's hand trembled around the open locket. The quill lay forgotten on the floor, the seizure order unfinished. Drazka sank slowly to her knees, the black leather of her coat brushing the dusty floor, and for the first time, she did not look like a tax collector.
What is your name, child?
Lyra.
The lamplight caught the faint greenish tint in the girl's eyes, a mark of the orc blood she'd never known she carried.
You have her eyes.
What are you saying? What do you know about Ilara?
Drazka did not answer. Her thumb traced the girl's jawline, as if mapping a face she'd lost a decade ago.
I never thought I'd see.
Mira pressed herself against her sister, her small hand gripping Lyra's dress like a lifeline. The quill lay on the floor where it had fallen, the ink drying on the unfinished seizure order. The Empire's deadlines no longer mattered inside these walls.
This crest on your medallion, it's mine. The Mogren crest. My blood.
Number. She was human. You are mistaken.
I had a sister. She vanished during the war. I searched for years.
The crest marked a bloodline of warriors who never left their own behind. Drazka had worn its twin for 2 decades.
When I saw this medallion, I thought, I hoped, but I never dared believe.
All these years, she hid this from me. Why?
She passed as human to survive. After the war, orc-blooded refugees were hunted.
Jeffrey's mind reeled. The woman he'd loved had carried a secret that could have gotten her killed.
The girls, they're half-orc. What does this mean for them?
It means they have a bloodline they can claim, a family they never knew.
For 10 years, she'd shown that miniature in every camp, searching for a sister who vanished.
I thought she'd been killed in the war. I mourned her.
But Ilara had buried her uniform, her name, her tusks. Choosing survival over pride, she became invisible, human passing, a refugee the Empire would never claim.
And she had children with a human. My blood hidden in plain sight.
She was always so careful, so quiet. I thought it was just shyness.
Drazka's hand closed around the locket, the same portrait she'd carried for a decade.
I can't take their home, but I have no choice under the law.
The tax collector who came to seize this cottage had become the last living thread of their mother's blood, and that thread was pulling her toward a decision no ledger could contain.
And you, little one, what do they call you?
Nita.
Lyra and Mira. Strong names.
It was the first genuine smile that had crossed her tusked face in what felt like years. Jeffrey watched the iron collector soften before his eyes. She wasn't just performing duty, she was feeling something she'd buried. But the quills still waited on the floor, the unfinished order a wound that hadn't healed.
I have a duty to the Empire, but you cannot ask me to make this choice tonight. Not after I just found them.
The tax collector's voice broke on the last word, and for a moment, she was just a woman, not an instrument of the Empire.
Write your name on the order. I'll find a way to make this right.
Jeffrey looked at the parchment she slid toward him, then at his daughters. His name on that line was a death sentence.
I won't sign away my children's future. I'd rather burn the cottage myself.
Papa, please. Don't let them take us.
Drazka's hand trembled over the parchment, the quill betraying a decision not yet made. She looked from the unfinished order to the two small faces, watching her with terrified hope.
I cannot do this. The Empire can take my rank, but it cannot take my blood.
She dropped the quill. Not onto the parchment, but onto the table. Then she pulled the heavy tax ledger toward her. She opened it to a fresh page, the leather spine cracking from years of harsh use. Only a collector could alter the permanent record. Jeffrey held his breath as the orc's quill began to move, not in the seizure column, but somewhere else entirely. The scratch of the nib was the only sound, drowning out the Empire's deadlines with a single, unreadable entry. She finished the line with a decisive stroke, then turned the open ledger toward Jeffrey. The words were clear, inked in imperial script, paid in full, kinship debt.
Kinship debt. What does that mean?
An old law. A debt of blood is considered paid by the nearest living kin. My sister's children are my blood. That debt transfers to me. The crown will not argue.
Jeffrey's legs gave out. He dropped onto the bench, one hand covering his mouth. The two girls crept closer, not understanding the legal words, but sensing the terror had passed.
This farm is under my protection now. No collector will set foot here again.
She closed the ledger with a thump that sounded like a prison door swinging shut from the outside. Then she looked at the girls, and the iron in her voice softened just a little.
You are my sister's children. I failed to protect her, but I will not fail you.
Will you stay with us?
I am not going anywhere. I will be the aunt you never knew you had.
Why? A few hours ago you were ready to throw us into the road.
Because those two girls carry my blood, and I will not let another generation be hunted for it. I will stay, Jeffrey. Not as a collector, but as their guardian.
Jeffrey looked at the orc, who had arrived as a threat and now spoke like a shield. Mira, still clutching her sister's dress, whispered something that made Drazka's eyes glisten.
Are you our new mama?
No, little one, but I am someone who will never let you be alone. I need to send word to my garrison. This farm will be marked as protected territory.
She stepped outside and gave a sharp whistle that pierced the dusk. A soldier emerged from the tree line.
This homestead is under my personal protection. No collector, no patrol. Nobody passes that gate.
The soldier saluted and melted back into the shadows, taking the command to the regional post. Back inside, Jeffrey still clutched the medallion. He looked at it, then at Drazka.
This belonged to Ilara. Now it belongs to you.
She took the worn cord and slipped it over her head. The silver crest now rested against her uniform.
I will wear it until my last breath. She won't be forgotten.
Outside, the night deepened, but inside the cottage, a family that shouldn't have existed began to take its first breath. Jeffrey sank onto the bench, and for the first time in 3 years, he let himself believe they might be safe. She led the girls to their straw pallet, her heavy boots suddenly careful on the creaking floorboards.
Rest now. No one will hurt you while I am here.
Will you tell us a story? Mama used to tell us one before bed.
Drazka's throat tightened. She nodded and settled beside them, the candle stub casting long shadows on the wall.
Once, there were 2 sisters. They were warriors, but they were also each other's only family. A war came, and they were separated. The older ones searched for years, never knowing the younger was hiding just out of sight.
Mira's breathing evened out first, then Lyra's, their small hands still tangled together.
I found them, Ilara. I found your daughters. I won't let them vanish like you did.
In the doorway, Jeffrey stood silent, watching the orc woman keep a vigil he'd thought no one else would ever hold. The candle finally guttered out, but for the first time in 3 years, the darkness didn't feel threatening inside the cottage walls. A week passed. In the mornings, Drazka taught the girls to shoot, her hands steady but her voice gentle.
Relax your shoulders, Lyra. Breathe. The bow is not your enemy.
I want to be able to protect Papa, like you do.
Jeffrey mended the roof that afternoon. Drazka handed him shingles, and they worked in easy silence. The girls played under the oak, and the farm nearly looked like the home Ilara dreamed. A rider appeared, an imperial messenger with a query about the kinsmanship claim.
This farm is settled, paid in full. Tell your master he will answer to me.
The messenger rode off, and the girls ran to Drazka, their relief cutting through the afternoon haze.
Is the bad man coming back?
Drazka knelt and gathered them in. Jeffrey, in the doorway, felt the knot in his chest loosen a fraction, but the old fear still held its shape. That night, the sky turned green-black. A storm slammed the valley like an angry fist, and the old cottage groaned on its foundations.
Get the girls to the back corner. Now. Move.
Before Jeffrey could respond, the front door rattled on its hinges, the old oak starting to splinter inward. Drazka threw her shoulder against the brace, her boots scraping on the floor, the muscles in her neck cording with effort.
She's not an orc right now. She's just someone fighting for our home.
He lunged forward and slammed his own weight beside hers, and together they held the line as the storm howled its last. The wind died. The door held. Drazka slumped against the frame, chest heaving.
Thank you, sister.
Drazka's eyes widened, then glistened. She gave a single, shaky nod, unable to speak. The girls rushed from the corner and wrapped their arms around both of them, and the cottage felt, for the first time, like it might withstand anything. Once the girls were asleep, Drazka drew the medallion over her head and opened it between them.
I carried her picture for 10 years, never knowing where she was.
She never told me her real name. I called her Ilara because it was all she'd say.
She was a warrior, not a farmer. But she chose this life. She chose you.
For a long moment, neither spoke. The cottage held only the sound of the dying fire.
I think she would be proud. You kept her safe when she needed it most.
I loved her. I still do. And these past weeks, you've helped me carry the weight.
She closed the locket and pressed it back into his palm.
Keep it. It belongs here. She'd want her children to know her face.
Jeffrey nodded, throat tight. Outside, the first bird called before dawn. The next sunrise, Drazka carried her pack inside and set it in the corner that had been empty since Ilara died.
This is where I'll sleep. Not as a guest, as family.
You can put your things here. There's a hook by the door.
She hung her dark leather coat next to Jeffrey's worn tunic, the two garments as different as the people who wore them, yet side by side.
Will you show us how to fight like a soldier?
I'll show you how to defend yourself. Yes, but not today. Today we make breakfast.
Jeffrey stood at the stove, stirring porridge, and when he glanced over his shoulder, the kitchen held 4 people instead of 3 for the first time in years. He didn't speak. He didn't need to. The girls were already setting the table, chattering about the day ahead, and Drazka was pulling a stool up to the fire.
Aunt Drazka, will you stay forever?
Long enough to see you two grown. That's a promise.
A month turned the dead fields green. Drazka's soldier's eye had reorganized the planting, and the farm breathed again.
The soil is better now. We'll have a harvest this autumn.
Can we plant more sunflowers, Aunt Drazka? Mama loved them.
A distant horse trotted up the lane. Another collector, his hand already on his satchel.
This homestead is sealed. Any claim goes through my garrison.
The man looked at the crest on her coat, at the soldier posted near the gate, and rode on. Jeffrey, watching from the porch, let out a breath he'd held for 4 years.
Aunt Drazka, look, I can shoot 3 arrows now.
Jeffrey's mouth curved up. The hollow ache behind his ribs had filled with something quieter now. On the hook inside, her leather coat hung beside his tunic. The Empire's ledger was closed, and the cottage was full. One clear morning, Drazka announced they would visit the garrison. The girl's eyes lit up with excitement.
Today you see where I serve. You belong there as much as anywhere.
Will there be other orcs there? Will they like us?
Many. And they will know you are my blood. You are part of this legion now.
Jeffrey walked behind them as they approached the garrison gates, Drazka's hand on each girl's shoulder.
Soldiers. These are my niece's daughters of my sister Ilara Mogren, who fought and died with honor.
A murmur passed through the ranks, then a salute. The half-orc girls were claimed, not hidden.
Your mother was a hero who survived the impossible. Now her blood stands before the Empire.
My daughters have a legacy now. Ilara, you would be proud.
That evening, they walked home through golden fields, the girls chattering about the soldiers' horses and the braided sergeant. They reached the cottage as the sun dipped behind the oaks, painting the porch in warm amber.
Sit with me a while, Jeffrey. The girls can play.
She lowered herself onto the step, the medallion catching the last light. He sat beside her, their shoulders nearly touching.
For 10 years I thought I had no one. Now I have 2 nieces and a brother I never expected.
In the yard, Lyra was showing Mira how to balance a stick like a staff, their laughter weaving through the quiet.
Ilara would have been so happy to see them like this. To see you here.
I think she's been watching. Peace never comes from forgetting. It comes from making something new from the pieces.
The sun sank lower, the sky bleeding from orange to violet, and neither of them moved.
For you, Aunt Drazka.
Drazka lifted the flowers, her eyes bright, and Jeffrey knew the last coin had bought something the Empire could never tax.
Aunt Drazka, will you tell us the story of how you found us?
Ah, that night. I came to this cottage with a scroll and a duty, ready to turn a family out. But then your father held out a medallion, this very one, and the world cracked open.
Were you scary?
I think I was. But then I saw your faces and everything changed.
Jeffrey leaned against the doorframe, listening to the story he'd lived, turned into a tamer, warmer version by the sister he never expected.
I wrote a word in the ledger, kinship. And that was the moment the Empire lost you.
And now you are our aunt forever.
Forever and always. Now off to bed, little warriors.
The fire crackled low, and the cottage hummed with the quiet music of a family that had stopped counting coins. The night settled deep and quiet over the cottage. Inside, Drozga led the girls to their pallet. She knelt and pulled the wool blanket over them, her hand lingering on Mira's head. The medallion swung forward from her neck, the Mogran crest catching the dying firelight. Jeffrey stepped closer, and for a moment the four of them were one silhouette against the hearth. He rested his hand on Drazga's shoulder, the gesture already as familiar as breathing. She didn't turn. She only let her head rest against his arm, and the medallion glowed in the ember light. Outside, the farm stretched silent under the stars, the guard at the lane shifting his weight. The cottage was no longer a tax entry in a ledger. It was a sanctuary written in blood. The last coin Jeffrey ever needed had come in the form of a family he never knew he had. The last coin was the bloodline she never knew survived.